So we can scoot all the way back. Basically, you know what I mean?
Look, I think it'll be good.
Oh, yep. That's basically good.
Yeah, it's whatever. That's what it would look like under the other thing. I'll tell you what. Okay.
Woo.
So just give it a few minutes.
Oh, are we on right now?
Yes.
We're on. Okay.
Let me shut the door. I'll tell you what. And then here's so that you can look at the cameras. Oh gosh. Because when he gets up, entertains like that.
What's that?
I said when he gets up, when my child LP, how are you?
LP.
Hey, party. He's in Australia.
Oh, Aussies are some of my favorite peeps. Mainly, I also love Indonesia, and I met blah 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 blah. Some amazing Aussies.
They better stay focused. I tell you. There we go. Good. Yeah, I can't make the texting. You should see me, and I'm like,
right.
We're good. How about you? It's in the middle of the night over there. He likes to get up. He's one of the weirdos that's like nocturnal. Kelsey.
Also, some.
Hey, girlfriend. We'll let a couple people try to see. This is what YouTube does. See how it says there's nobody on, but there's people talking.
Oh, that's
interesting. And I my thing is, I think they do that. See, it just now switched. I call it out. Funny, but it's like it does that because I don't follow their community guidelines, and so it's like if it looks like there's less people on the live, less people will join it. Does that make sense? Because they're like, oh, there's not very many people on there. It's probably not good. That kind of thing.
They're messing up your algorithm.
They are. So
mofos.
Alrighty. So today's gonna be a little bit of a longer session. We're gonna do a reading for Paula, and then we're gonna talk. And we'll probably have to repeat this a little bit later, but Paula's the one that I'm always talking about when I mention my friend, and she does da-da-da-da. She's also one that does the salient activations with Antonina, and so we might actually go into that a little bit later so they can...
Was it 3? You guys, was it 3 years or 4 years ago today? We were in Italy. Yeah, we were in Italy, and I have like memories on my phone, and we were literally like, I love animal medicine, and we were literally being guided back into our port by dolphins, and I'm like,
I swear we had like 10 of them all around the front.
Beautiful. So beautiful.
So, and then she grabbed the dolphin. I told her it was the pretty fish. Yeah. It's am I pretty fish one? But that's actually technically a dolphin.
Do you want the fish or the pretty fish coffee cup? I'm like, I will take the pretty fish one. But it's a dolphin.
So,
cool.
Anywho's, okay.
Woo! Here we go. I always know I'm in for something spectacular when I have like a reading done. So I'm like, woo!
Okay. We'll see. We'll see. Like, okay, we'll do this. All right, guys. Okay. I'll get it. I got it. Hold on. I'm getting more coffee. There's a level of excitement. Like there's like a jittery energy pumping through. It's not the coffee. I can tell the difference. I know the difference when I...
So I just got back from LA, and I was visiting one of my mentors. His name is Shaman Durek, and he's absolutely amazing. Him and Princess Marta are getting married pretty soon. And I know.
They've waited.
They have, which is good for them. And there's different dimension of activating our individual like elements that come through us. So mine is light a lot. Like a lot of people go grounding. We can do all of it. Some people do electricity. So there's always like this spirit activate light. You know what I mean? Like there's like just walking in the world with light. That makes any sense at all. Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty. So do you have a particular question, or are you...
I think I'm just open for your magic to play.
Okay.
Yeah, to swirl.
Alrighty. We would normally like Manishka. Okay, so we would Manishka and LP are my mods. Manishka's in India, LP is in Australia, and then Kelsey is in South Africa.
Ooh, it's the Seychelles. Like I have to get to the Seychelles sometime in this lifetime.
Is it? I know it's in like, where is it at, Kelsey? South Africa. Hey, how are you? Nhanka? I butcher everybody's name. So we're starting it off with most of my people are. I mean, I have people from the U.S.
It's the same.
But most of my people are in other countries.
Like a global community. I love it. And we're all like here to bring that together and to learn from each other, like versus like this is right and this is wrong and blah, blah, blah. I got this. So
okay. So yeah, we're doing the tarot reading. Hey Terry, where are you at?
I was like,
you're in the you went to school in the U.S. somewhere. Right? But I think you're in the U.S. He just Terry graduated from medical school.
Right on. Okay. Oh.
Took his test. You're where? Taiwan. What? But I thought that's where I thought you were you not doing school in the US because you be coming on like during my time frame. And then who else? Oh, let's hope Troy comes on. Troy's in Canada. Troy's the one that gives I told Paula about I've talked about you all sometimes. I told Paula about Troy and his poetic
that
things
one, yes.
That he posts and stuff. So hopefully he comes on too. Okay, guys.
Beautiful souls. Thank you for being here. This is fun to get to like know your people like from all over.
So just a little background. Paula and I have known each other since high school. We went to college together for a period of time, and then she moved to Alaska. And then
California.
About 5 years ago, it was 2018 when we ran into each other.
I moved back here. Did everyone know where you're at?
Kinda-ish.
Okay, yeah.
Kinda-ish. I've moved a couple of times. I'm usually like, I'm right in the middle. I'm closer to the East Coast. I don't know. So a lot of the people who I do private readings, like they know where I'm at.
Yeah.
So basically, that's when we ran back into each other. And that's also at the tail end of what I call the soul death. And I was like, I remember she and I were connected on Facebook and all kinds of stuff, and she was posting stuff. And it was like, I didn't have the type of people that I could just be completely open with. And we all talk about that. There's always like that stop sign. You can go everywhere but here. You can discuss everything but that. Yeah. Which is when we ran into each other. And it was like, oh, okay. So the universe is the fact that she was coming up on my timeline a lot. And I was actually reading her posts.
And we were literally like, I went to dinner one time and you were there. And then I went to a movie one time and you were like, the universe was literally like, you guys have to be in each other's lives again. Like there's no way around it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, like, she's the one that I mentioned when I was talking about, like even healers need healers, like you know, people like, just as a reminder, there are no messiahs here on earth. There is nobody that is perfect. No matter the amount of healing or spiritual development that you've gone through, that there's not this, how do I say it? It's not that there's not no messiahs. It's like no one gets a free pass at the human experience.
Correct. It's wisdom.
So there's no perfection. There's no not needing other people. There's no I'm in a vacuum and nothing can touch me, that kind of stuff. You need to have the environment you have around you, the people that you have around you are exceptionally important. And those who understand the processes that you're going through, that can hold you through it, that will hold you accountable, that kind of stuff. And so that's what I would say Paula is for me. And she does a lot of things. She does a lot of things. Like when I talk about seeing a shaman or someone that I work with, I'm talking about Paula. And so, yeah, that's just kind of like and then we do the best we can. We have a friendship aside from that, but it's not the same. But we also really, it's a reciprocal relationship here. And so I'm going to do a reading for her and everything. Because I think we're what I've picked up on in some of the reads and whatever collective I've been reading for is there's a shift happening over the next 3 to 4 months. And it's not one where it's like something's coming. It is the doing. There's an action that's happening, an action that's already started. And it's like the ricochet effect kind of thing. And so, it's just there's no more stagnancy. That I need to post that. He puts that at the top so that people. I'll pin that comment.
Perfect.
LP. So.
Yeah, I feel like for me and quite a group of particularly people that I've been running with for a little while, there was a like a mode of what felt like stagnation, but really it was a cocooning time for us to like come out even differently and with more wisdom and like more alignment. And that feels like it's starting to like happen more and more just naturally. Yeah, it's so cool because it's like we think of like the trajectory of our lives as like it's supposed to be like and it's not. Like it's it's like this. And I think that's where our diamonds get forged in the caves. And like I don't know one person like Shaman Durek, like very well known, respected in the spiritual community. He talks about like his life like a lot. I think authenticity is gold. Like none of us are
impervious.
Yes.
To the human experience. You know what I mean? It's like so that's who I choose to surround myself with. I hope that's
absolutely
who you can find as well.
And it's also like my favorite saying recently has been like sovereignty and community. It's also equally like we're not perfect by any means, nor do it like we have a circle like going on. There's not a hierarchy in my world. And like choosing to like have that sovereign within myself and then how I relate to other people too. Meaning there's not a need. Like, it's like, like I talk to these people who are like, oh my gosh, they didn't text me back. And I'm like, what? Like, I can't even I can't even fathom being concerned about that. Does that make sense? When you're in your power greatly, it's, you're not trying to gain something from somebody else. You just are who you are. And it like transmits out into the world. So it's not like, okay.
Gotcha.
Okay, cool.
I was like, who's upset that someone didn't text them back? Like my brain ADHD went right into it. It was like start throwing scenarios in my brain, all kinds of stuff. Okay.
And the young generation, I'm like trying to teach them of like, okay, you guys, like.
Hey LP, will you let people know in the private group that they can come on as well, or Manishka, one of the two of you, if you don't mind. I hope Peter's here too. Kelsey, sometimes I get on. Kelsey and Peter are married. And so sometimes they're on like the same phone because the little one is playing on the other phone kind of thing. So,
gotcha.
Or he might be at work. I don't know. What time is it? It's like evening there, I think. He's at work. Okay. All right.
All
right. Okay, are we ready?
We're ready.
Okay, so we're going to start with the Fallen Angels Oracle deck. I always remind everybody, there's no such thing as fallen angels, but okay. But the angels
restored angels.
Yes. So it's like the lesser known ones that play a role in this existence and stuff. But this is a really good deck. So we're just going to go ahead and get started. I've already got the energy going pretty fast, so I might be talking fast. That tends to happen when you have two channels next to each other. Like if you get me an LP in a conversation, it's nonstop. So because what happens is her energy and her allowance of things helps to amplify the ease of me being able to bring in a message. And so you'll see me going, and you know that I love those because sometimes when I get stuck in the muck stuff, I'm like, oh my God, what? So if I talk really fast, I apologize, but I'm just letting you know. I will have my pauses. Y'all are used to this. I got tingles in my head right now.
But did you just see what I did?
No. It went like that. Okay.
Do you want me to ground this? Do you want me to be grounded or okay?
You're good. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm gonna pull one more for this. Give me just a second. Okay. So right out the fucking gate, they're getting really to the point. So there is. Okay, so you're with me in that 4-month frame. Like they're kind of like framing a time frame for me. Like like it gives it the essence of like divine timing, or like now's the opportune time, because the energies are a certain way, or certain things are kind of parlayed. I don't know why they're using that word. And so it's like things are kind of, it's like the red. Oh, I'm bringing me back to the reading I did on like the seas. Like you're trying to get to somewhere else because there's waters between the two of you. And you don't have the means to get through there. It's almost like parting the seas. It's like it's not gonna stay that way for forever. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like this is the time to act, if that makes sense. Because we've got caution, danger of loss. Let everybody else take a look, and of course you can obviously look. And then we have exhaustion. So it's the lack of follow through, motivation, and drive that's been experienced. It's like muscle memory is what they're giving me. It's almost like muscle memory, where when I get the inspiration, which is right here, to do something, but I have been held in that cocoon, that chrysalis, for so long that it's almost like everything within me wants to automatically revert to that, because okay, we're gonna go back to the analogy. If you hold a feather out like this, it's really light. It's not heavy, you can do it. But the longer you have to do that, the more gravity starts to take hold. And that feather becomes heavier and heavier because your muscles begin to become weak, tired. And it's the notion that sometimes faith can become burdensome. Having to carry faith and hold on to faith and allowing faith to be the thing that keeps you going, or hope keep you going, can eventually turn into a burden, because it's like I can't carry this anymore without some sense of reciprocity, because at some point then my waters become stagnant and stale and all that kind of stuff, and then rancid. And so like I have to have some type of momentum, some type of movement. But then when we get to the place of, okay, now's the time to take action, we may be in a space of ego or our subconscious going, this is our pattern. We've stayed safe like this because in our chrysalis, at any attempt when we try to break free or try to take movement, we were thwarted with it. We were, things either something didn't happen and occur. I felt like a hamster on a wheel. It created more confusion and chaos, and it literally depleted. Or give me a depletion, like the level of exhaustion within, strictly not from what you were doing, but because of the internal churning that was occurring, if that makes sense. And so they're saying to be aware of this. Any person, okay, we're going to go back to the rehab. If you go through a healing process, like you say, you have surgery, right? And you have a healing process, even after you have healed and the wound itself has healed, then there's the rehabilitation time. Because you've lost the momentum, you've lost like the muscle, muscle mass. Like there's a regaining of stamina and follow through. And so there's a sense of just wanting you to be aware and cautioning you that there's a danger of loss over the next 4 months. We're going to give it a 4-month. Obviously, it can go a little bit both ways, but we're going to give it like a 4-month time frame, okay? That if you're not taking action because your body wants to automatically tell you you're exhausted, it wants to, there's going to be just a muscle memory to, this is too much, this is, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, there's the magic in just the doing, because you're so used to doing the mental gymnastics for something, and it's needing to make sure that you get into like,
the physical.
Yes, take out the mental gymnastics and just do, because things will just happen naturally. Like there's not a need to get on the hamster wheel at this point. But there's been a time frame in which you felt the need to do that. Right? Especially when we can feel something approaching. We're like, okay, what do we do? Like I gotta get ready, And so we're gonna go through and it's like it did nothing but deplete you. Yeah. And so you need to, like, it's just gonna be all too natural. Right? And then ego's going to step in and be like, yeah, this is just another blah, 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 blah. Whether we listen to that voice, our subconscious reaction is going to be one different. So your body may actually feel sometimes like it is working against you, because it's still, it's the idea of the preservation process. So when a butterfly comes out of the chrysalis, you know, it's wet. It can't fly right away. It has to take time to sit and acclimate and things like that. Your body may still think that you need to acclimate, but actually the energy that it needs is going to come from the doing. Okay. So there's going to be inspiration, change, and travel. Okay. So we've got the inspiration, change, and travel. See, like, it does that and it kills me.
It's a blurring, yeah.
So I want to say they're saying something about don't mistaken the muscle memory of the, I don't know why they want to say there are going to be moments where it feels like it's a heavy load. Mm-hmm. And don't mistaken that for, you know, sometimes we talk about your body will, okay, so it's ringing really bad. So there's something about this. There's something like your body will try to tell you what's for you, what's not, like listen to your body, mm-hmm. but know that in this time frame, your body's actually going through a rehabilitation process because I get the feeling of in the gymnastics, in the internal churning and things like that, because the butterfly becomes mush in the chrysalis, literally. And so in that process, it's like, I don't know, I want to act like my body went offline. Mm-hmm. That, you know what I'm saying? And like when you turn Wi-Fi back on, it's like, just because the signal's coming through doesn't mean that, like, you know how like your router can take a while for things to kind of completely come back up. Right. And so you've got to give it that, like when you restart your computer or anything else like that. And so there may be a period of time where you'll feel like your body is telling you one thing and you're being inspired to do. Does that make sense? Yes. You'll feel physiological resistance to something. Mm-hmm. And it's to push through that is what I want to say. Okay. Okay, we're going to talk about the change in the inspiration, change, and travel. So they're saying something about to not discount. I'm getting like the idea of like minor travel. Mm-hmm. That there might be a lot of that sprinkled in.
Yeah. Okay. Like it doesn't have to always be overseas.
Yeah, I'm thinking like smaller. So it's okay. I'm getting the idea of like teetering on whether to do something and then be like, well, you know, feeling that the exhaustion. That's when the exhaustion is going to come in, mm-hmm. and you're gonna, and it's almost like, well, I'll save my energy for the this, that, or the other. And they're like, actually, you should go.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And there, because I'm over here, I'm having a difficult. I'm like, so, you know, there's going to be plenty of time for rest. There's going to be plenty of time for rest. But actually, resting too much is actually going to make you more tired. Yeah. They want you to go. Does that make sense? Yeah, okay, I'm so glad that finally came through because I was like, that one little sentence could have helped a long time to get there. Yeah. When I was trying to explain stuff. So this is a rehabilitation time. And there's something, but I feel like, I don't know why I'm getting this, but there's something in minor travel that is going to impact some more major events. Some change. Okay. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. It's not just in the
massive things.
Yes. It's not in the big things. So there's going to be some opportunities. And it's like, if go with your initial, like, oh yeah. And then it's like, I feel like there's going to be like a physiological response that comes in. Yeah. Comes in afterwards. And you're like, oh, I'm really, but it's like, that will resolve itself is what I want to say. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't know. They're really, it feels like there's going to be a time when you're supposed to do something and you're going to really just think, you know what, I just need to take care of myself. Mm-hmm. And they're like, that's the time when I feel like something important is going to come through for you. So it's like the opposite is true, almost like the going is going to be more important for you and more nurturing for you than the stay. Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. And
that actually makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Okay. So what else are we gonna? I feel like we need to. We did say that we're gonna do this one. I got tingles again in my head. Hello.
Definitely a collective message.
Yeah, I just like sometimes I just chit chat.
Yeah.
Okay. So this next little bit is also the reason why it's so important is because it's a bridge period. There might be a desire to reserve for only the things that you think are going to have a big impact on your trajectory, and they're like all of it. Yes. All of it right now is going to have a big impact. And because I'm getting, just to let y'all aware, we've got sly and subtle approach is needed, okay? And then we've got imagination clouds your judgment, which I don't think it's not about playing in the field of possibilities. That's actually more true. It is the other gymnastics that your mind might try to, your mind is still going to try to
tamper things down,
analyze and insert itself, and not in the way where it's like we don't ever forgo wisdom. Okay, Spirit would never ask us to forgo wisdom. So we're not talking about that. We're talking about the lizard brain that wants to kind of start to say something, right? Like, would that be even worth the effort? Or is that even that kind of stuff? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Like, it's the programming of like, you're not good enough. You're too much. You're this. Like, don't even try. All that, you know.
Or even did they say it because of this? Or is that, you know, it's like I feel like it is going to try to implant itself in place of your intuition. Does that make sense? And so even when interacting with certain people, or it's like it'll try to give it'll add like a filter that's not necessary. That doesn't need to. It's like don't feed it type of a thing.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's the reason why they're like sly and subtle approach is needed, because when that starts to happen, it's like its job. What it's trying to do is make you, like you said, not feel magical. Doubt your capacity, just doubt yourself, just doubt. Like it's trying to do is put in the doubt, because again, it's like muscle memory. It's some subconscious fear trying to come up and say like it's trying to protect you. It is, if we don't do, we can't be rejected. If we don't do, we can't fail. We don't, which we know is not true. The only true failure is not even trying, right? But it's going to try and supplant, like, and it might get I get a sense of like trying to use your type of terminology, and you know, where it's like, it's going to sound like it's you, like it's going to sound like your intuition a little bit, like but you'll notice if you pay attention, the sly and subtle approach is really paying attention. And it's like when it gives you not an argument, but like like when it tries to convince you, like, does that make sense? Like when you're trying to convince yourself, well, I think because of this, it's like, oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. There's just, it's that last ditch effort. It's that last ditch effort to maintain influence over the trajectory. Does that make sense? Okay. And so the imagination they're talking about is not the playing in the field of possibilities. It is the scenarios and the stories that it's going to try and interject.
Like doubt.
Yes. And so it's like, be really aware. And they're giving me with the serpent, because the serpent's also about transformation, shedding skin. And it's like, you're in the process of shedding that. And the thing is, when we go into that chrysalis stage, guys, we are going through a process where anything that may have been a hindrance to us before, right, is coming up to be dealt with. But then we get into what we call the embodiment process, where it's now the doing. And that's its last ditch effort. It's almost like the 2-year-old throws a tantrum to get what it is that it wants. And it's going to throw anything at the fucking wall to see what sticks. And its number one go-to is going to be within your thoughts. And it's going to try and parade around as if it is, okay.
Yeah, we're just gonna like that. It's not.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I'm just explaining this for you all so that you'll understand, like, with negativity, like there's a saying where it's like evil will try to pretend that it's good and dress up as if it's good, you know, which is like the way people fall for it and stuff like that. I don't know. There's like a better way of saying it, but it's the gist of it. It's the little lizard brain within us who, out of protection, because it feels the need to protect, because when you're in the chrysalis, these things come up to be dealt with. And just like a detox, when your cells release all the toxins, you refuel everything. And so then the little lizard brain's like, we're in danger, and it's going to do whatever it can to minimize experiencing it. It is on alert, like there's danger when there's no real danger, right? So ego's only point of reference, as a reminder, you all, is that from which has already happened, the past. It is a human filter. It has no understanding or awareness of what the future, right, has. And so what it does is it takes anything that you've been programmed with, any traumas you've experienced, any experiences you've had, like it's going to pull from whatever it can and throw it and project it into the future. Well, that can be, again, it's a filter to help us be aware of our environment. And as we're moving through, it is not necessarily the truth, right? It has no way of knowing if that's exactly what's going to happen. So just as a reminder, when you're stepping out of this chrysalis, it's that last ditch effort, right? But as you do, it's almost like, it's like that little bubble that bursts. Like you change, you reprogram at a cellular level your lens at which you see things through. Absolutely. The possibilities and that kind of stuff. So just so that you're aware. I think that speaks for itself. We kind of touched that. Seek a union of mind and spirit. So it's almost like it is that knowing, being aware of what's the truth and what is not, what's being projected based upon whatever, into any scenario, any situation. And it can be exhausting sometimes, because we can be done. Like you can identify it, see it, hear it, and you're like, I know that's not even, but it's still present and it's in the doing. Like they keep saying, there's something about just taking the action consistently. Like when you have those larger gaps, I feel like what they're saying, the reason why those little smaller things are as important is because it is the more we walk the talk, right? The more embedded it gets, the more it is our new. And so the less that will come up. And then there's going to be triumph over adversity, which I think is self-explanatory. So, okay, that was a really la. So let's go into the change and travel. Can we spare? That'd be great. Sorry. We're going to do divine doors, moon magic, and I don't know why, but they really wanted me to bring this one, utilize that one. That was like the first one that they said last night when I was preparing. So hope everybody's doing well. Hey, Manishka.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I wish I could be this much beautiful as them.
Yeah. So we were talking at the very beginning of there's not like hierarchy. And I love, beauty comes in all forms, yeah. Particularly, like, my favorite is soul form. Begin here, do not fear what travel brings. My fear, the moment is yours. Begin now, here, do it. Come on, just go.
It is. So just to say it louder for you all, it's like, do not fear what travel brings, my dear. The moment is yours. Begin now, here. It's just reiterating that this is the time for action. Yeah. And I feel like it's like, even when your brain wants to tell you you don't know what action to take,
that's what I was
do like, anything.
Yeah, okay.
Do something.
What's the next action move?
Exactly. It's like anything. At this point, it is that anything will start the trajectory.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it's like, sometimes that's the way it'll get us, right? Is, okay, I'm ready. What is it? And then we hear silence, and it's like, it's not a matter of what you do, it's just the doing. Mm-hmm. That's it. That
being emotion
brings stuff to us as quickly as it takes. So, and that might be what they're talking about, is not getting caught in that dialogue of, okay, now, like, with the actionable steps. Mm-hmm. And it's like, when imagination clouds the judgment, like, I don't know what to do, so I can't do anything.
Right.
Do something.
That's why I like rituals. Like, I know when I am like performing at like my favorite spaces, like, it's rituals like really important to me. I have been out of that a little bit.
Or it's like, sometimes when I feel like I'm like, here's the thing, I come and do tarot sometimes when I feel like there's so many other things that I should be doing, but I don't know what to do, and so I just do something. Like, that's what I've been trying to do here recently, is like, okay, well, then I'm going to come on and do it, because it's like.
And I was talking in the group yesterday, I talk a lot about like masculine and feminine dynamics, and like in our culture, like it's heavy-handed masculine model of the work mode here, and a lot of women burn themselves out. So that was definitely my case, and I feel like I'm relearning how to do things differently.
Yeah.
So that's like, I think there's been like hesitation a little bit of going back into that do. Mm-hmm. But like the pendulum swung to the other side of where I'm like, I'm just gonna lay here and feed me grapes. Like,
I think that's what it is. It's like, it wasn't so much like, to me, it's like, for me at least, it's the idea of, because when I was doing, it was nothing but the doing.
Correct.
It was nothing but the masculine.
There was no time for the intuition. There was no time for play. There was no time for pleasure,
creation, anything. That. It was like, there was no time to receive. There was no time to allow.
And then you learn how important the receiving is, and how beautiful it is to be magnetic, and and now in my thought processes, like, the doing is actually being out and experiencing, and my magnet is just turned on. So it's not like force. Like, I'm not ever forcing anything. It's like, when I am in the right spaces, like, the right things come.
And maybe when you're not doing is when the opposite starts to happen for you.
Yeah, it's depression. Like, you literally, like, when I can't gift my heart or anything to this world, like, when I'm not actually giving my soul's vibration, I don't know how to say it, like, I get into like a lull, and that's where depression comes in, because we're covering ourselves up.
Yeah,
like, it's the cover up. So it's like, okay, so the process for me recently, particularly since Utah, has been like uncovering, being seen. Like, I was just seen in a major way in LA and in Utah, so it's like that recalibration of like, okay, I'm safe to be seen.
But also, and keep doing. That's why they keep saying, don't discredit the small stuff. Don't discredit the It's like, the more you stay in that vortex,
yes,
the better you are, and the less likely you are to because muscle memory is going to be like, okay, there's nothing happening. But because you just said, when I'm in the process of doing, when I'm in the process of giving, when I'm in the process of something, like, that's where you're just
like, that, it fuels me. Mm-hmm. It's not when I'm in the process of that way with the things that I want to be doing, like with the passions, like with the soul's yeses. It's like,
and don't discredit the smaller ones. Like, like, this makes a lot of sense. They're like, you're going to completely change. Okay, you know how like sometimes we go through a period, and it's like what I call the undercurrent of energy is one thing, and then there might be little blips of something else, but the undercurrent is one way. And right now, this next period is the bridge of changing that undercurrent. It is getting prepared to, as the butterfly and that kind of stuff. And so it's like, it's one of those things where they're saying, you're in transformation, which I would call the Six of Swords. We'll see if that comes out, which is from the rocky waters to the calm waters. And it's getting across the passage, getting like, whether it's taking a bridge or whatever else, whatever analogy you want to use, but it is reshifting what that undercurrent is. Because sometimes we have to be taken out of the old undercurrent to do what we have to do in the chrysalis.
Well, and I just had my mother pass away, and it felt like a whole anchor, like, which is why I moved here. So I was just like, this whole anchor just kind of lifted up for me of like, oh, I got to create my life differently now. Like, I got to do it for what I want to. So that makes total sense too. Like, it was, it's the recalibration of like, cool, let's get to look differently. Like, for things, even in like different ways that I've been trying to force, even the gifts coming through.
So, question, as a friend though, how can I help with that and support that for you? If we know that the not, and I know this is an oversimplified way of saying it, the not doing, right?
Yeah.
And even not engaging in the smaller things, because it's like, just when you're in, like you said, when you're in that service, when you're in,
it's like shiny, yay.
Yes,
like,
yes. And it's almost like Spirit's like, I want to keep you there. I want to keep you there. We've got to, and it's like, there might be a part of you that fights against staying there, right? Because it's like, here's the thing. I just use analogies, guys, and colloquial sayings, like idle hands in the devil's playground.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
like, it's that scenario. That's the energy I'm getting. It's like,
yes. So, and even deeper, like the deeper layer for me. So this might hit home for some people too. Like, one thing that I've really been aware of in the last like 6 months, 7 months, is only being around people who are happy for my happiness. Meaning my life has been full at times with people who are not that. So then you said something earlier about that, like, so then I would play into that game of, making sure everybody else is okay. So how can you as a friend, like continue, like, just like come and have fun and play with me and be in the like happy zone, you know what I mean? And be okay with that, which you are, like, that. Does that make sense? Like, because I've been surrounded by so many people in my life who have not been okay with me
shining.
Like, so then
it's okay if you shine, but not brighter than me.
Correct.
Okay?
Yeah.
You can totally shine.
Right.
And it's like, and they thrive when you're like just here. But if you hit this, it's like.
Yeah. And that is a massive healing piece for women that, like, and I'm so thankful for like, oh my gosh, I was writing about this the other day. Like, my life, I have a handful of like really beautiful women in my life that we like stir the pot of magic because we do desire each other to shine. Like, it is like my favorite thing. Like, I am like such a, what is it, the ENFP, like the campaigner.
Yeah.
Like, it feels
cheerleader.
so
I like
strange. Like, when people are like,
want to pull somebody. Yeah.
Energetic of jealousy. Like, I don't get it. Like, I like it. Like, I'm like, yeah, go you. And that's also possible for me too. You know what I mean? Like, so that's a thing that is like, okay. Being seen also equates for me being okay with disappointing other people that they're not me.
Say that again.
And the funny thing is like, if y'all knew half the shit that I've walked through in this life already, like the abuses and like the bullshit, y'all wouldn't want my life. But it's so funny, like, when people are like, when they see a person shine and they think that their life is easy, which ties back to what we were talking about in the very beginning, but like, no one gets out of the human experience. It is how we gain our wisdom. But it is actually beautiful. Like, I can look back now and it's not like, oh, thank you that like for the abuse, but like, holy shit, like, I've learned so much and I am like solid in my boundaries now.
Yeah. Because
I experienced that contrast. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I can't remember what I said when you said say that again. I can't even remember.
I don't know. I don't even remember saying that. So also for me though, I feel like supporting you through that is going to be being honest with you. I see, I'm like, I want to be like, hey, are you not doing this? Or are you not blah, blah, blah because of this? Or is that even real? Or tell me more about that. Like, talk to me about it when that comes up. Like allowing you to process through those things and kind of like reflect back to you and remind you like that what you're thinking, feeling, or going through or purging is not you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's not you. And the like, we all have the fucking downs, guys. We all have the downs. But the one thing that I was talking to my son, my oldest one, y'all know, 19-year-old, about like working with Paula and stuff. And he's done it before, but I told him, I said, the thing about, we were talking about him driving, because like I haven't taken him on the big interstate yet. He got his license though. Yeah. But I was like, oh, we'll send Paula, because like Paula could have like a car oncoming and she could see, oh, we're going to die. And she would die laughing. She would die laughing, and it's like, there's something about when she's in her light, she disarms all the negativity, disarms.
Yeah.
It's like, because in
it's
anybody
natural
else,
to me.
because it's like, and we've been talking about this. So she's also the one, I shared little tidbits, like when what was hard for me going through it, and it's like the realization coming to this is like, oh fuck. But one of them was, and this is what she said to me, and it irked the shit out of me, and Annie is gonna irk the shit out of anybody. If I tell her this shit, she's not gonna want to fucking hear it either, can I just tell you? But she still told me, and she said, this can take as long or as little as you want it to. What does that do? It shifts accountability, responsibility, and the power back into my hands. And but also she said, this growth doesn't have to be in the down. You don't have to always be in the down, and it doesn't have to be painful. Spiritual work, working through things and letting go does not have to be painful.
Biggest fallacy of like,
do you know, like here's the thing, what I find is, while going fast through a process can be painful, I find there's more pain in the slow.
Oh yeah.
It's like the ripping of the band-aid. It's like,
yes, absolutely.
And to take this shit off, there might be a little bit of pain, but it's so much better. And so like, anytime you work with her, anytime you work with Paula, it is, I'm like, we're gonna find a way that we can bring up the levity of this, because it doesn't have to be that dense. It doesn't have to be that dark. It doesn't have to be that hard.
No. So our biggest addiction in our culture, and I think like this is why I love explaining these things in cultures, but our biggest addiction is to pain. Literally. But you look
because
at like,
your brain gets the best dopamine hit from.
Oh, interesting.
It's been proven. Like you actually will get. That's why people with like OCD and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They don't think repetitive, awesome thoughts. They think very negative ones, because their brain is low on dopamine, and it's like when you think those things, it's like an instant shot. There's other ways to get it in life.
Yes.
But it's the quickest one.
And the beautiful thing is when you can shift it over, because to me, growth now comes through like good soil. Like, how can you support me? Let's go have fun.
Yes.
Like that, like remind me who I am. Not let's go like drown in our sorrows together.
Yes.
It's remind me who the fuck, excuse me, who
no,
I am.
We do that.
you
we cuss on this channel.
And like, that's what we need more of in this world completely. But it's like, let's stop reeling in the shit. And going in, I mean, you can if you want to. Like, we can. I've been in it for a little bit.
I had to.
And the world's been in it. So the world's gotten a little bit denser, but now it's coming. I feel like that's flipping too. So yeah, anyways, I didn't mean to like.
Yeah, like a pig that rolls in shit. You can stay in it as long as you want, or you can get out. But sometimes we get into that, because I was talking to them about this the other day. I was like, there is such thing as being a victim. You can be a victim of a circumstance that's out of your control, but victimhood is something completely different.
Yeah, the drama dynamics is actually one of the biggest factor that was for me personally, and also what I love teaching on too. And like, I've taken a couple, like Landmark has a really good training of like, yes, this happened to you. Yes, you were abused. What you're making it mean. I'm not good enough. I'm just a doormat. I'm not worthy of like real love, blah, 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 that did not happen. Yeah. That is not true and real. This happened, the mental gymnastics that you were just talking about. That's not true. That's not real. So a lot of times I'll do like fear inventory and stuff. Like, thank you for that reminder. Like I need to do some of that myself too.
So let's go. Let's get back onto this. I just wanted to ask because it's important, and I'm like, what are you open to? What would best serve you as a friend? Because like she does the same for me, just period, point blank. Okay. So rightly said. That's an issue. She was like, okay, so now we're gonna move on. Or did you have something else to say?
No. Okay. Yes, these are the kind of relationships that you want in your life. Like, how can I support you best? Kind of relationships.
Yes.
And if it's not that, it's not fucking worth it. There we are.
Yes. Ooh, okay, so passages. Obviously, what did we just talk about? This is the bridge time. Like
Rites
you're
of
gonna,
passage.
yes.
Yeah.
So it says spiritual signs of inclination. You're walking through passages of your transformation. Like they're just reiterating what I said. They're saying, look, the next 4 months are very important. Just like when the seas part, you have to start moving through it to get to the other side, because otherwise, at some point, things are going to, and so it's like really important for you to get into where we're going to change the undercurrent. Life needs to have the undercurrent of joy, childlike fervor, possibility, all that kind of stuff. And yes, there might be little sprinkles of in there,
Sure.
But that does not have to be the overarching energy of your life or of the next era.
Mm-hmm. I feel like right now too, the rite of passage is actually using my voice for things that are so embodied that I've been teaching, and then I've been watching everybody else speak about it, and then I've been stepping back, laying down, and then I'm like, ooh.
How much of that do you feel like is because the people that were ready to hear that from you before were few and far between, but the people who are ready to hear that from you now is much larger, and so it's also a part of preparing you, like not yet, how much do you feel? Because a part of me almost feels like it's also about like divine order, like like, yes, this is for you, yes, this is what you're going to do, yes, all these things are going to happen, but the energy of the world at large needs to be ready, right?
It wasn't then.
And then, but also you have to rid. There's like pieces that you have to rid. And somehow, and I don't know if you're feeling this, but what I have been through, I feel like is also, when we get pushed to the point of like, it's literally, I feel like I'm going to implode. I'm ready to give up. I'm done with this. Take me back home, beat me up, Scotty, whatever that shit is. You know what I'm saying? Like all of the world is going through that, right? Mm-hmm. And we had to be, it's almost, I feel like sometimes I'm reminded of what that's like and what that is, because if I am to help others move beyond that,
you've experienced it.
Then I have experienced it as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so it's like, and that's another thing. Like when we say no one gets a free pass at this human experience, or no one's a messiah. Messiahs are seen as like these perfect beings. They're here to save everybody, like a knight in shining armor, but they themselves don't endure anything. And it's like, no, like this all powerful, whatever. And it's like, that's not, there's nobody like that on this earth. Nobody. Okay, a guru is somebody who has a lot of knowledge, not somebody who's impervious to shit happening in their life. Yes. It's like, in fact, they're the ones, in my opinion, who have been through the shit. Because why would you go to somebody who hasn't done the work or hasn't walked the path they're telling you to walk?
That's a good question, right? You don't. I don't, anyways. Like that's it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like it's
yeah. So. But yeah, so they're saying it's actually, in their opinion, a very short transformation. It's going to feel like a whirlwind, and that might also lend itself to the exhaustion. Like, okay, like I've just got back. Like it's having to see really legs. Like when you've just got back on the boat and you're like, no, you need to keep standing, you need to keep walking, you need to keep doing this, and you keep going, because what's coming for you after this passage is going to be like rocket. And so you've got to get your seaworthy legs. You've got to get back into the flow of whatever. So that's what it feels like to me. And then we've got Jude's song. This one came out down, so I'm waiting to see what that one says.
Ooh, that's funny. I just saw what it said. That's funny. Okay, keep going. Sorry.
A reminder for even the most hopeless of lost cases, you can find peace within the strangest of places. And this, to me, especially mixed with the synchronicities and the begin here now, is saying it's a reminder that it's not a reminder. They just corrected my words. What seems counter logical is where the
expansion
morsels are. You know what I'm saying? It's like the seeds for your harvest are going to be in some of the most strangest places. It's like Okay, so it's they're giving me, your little like, let's just go for a drive. And then, ooh, look at this here. And then, oh, look at that road. That looks interesting. Oh, let's go here. But it's like, think larger scale in life over the next 4 months of things coming up last minute, or
meeting certain people.
Even something that I want to say, they want to say, because you love adventure, and it's like some things are going to seem like mundane and not, that's also part of the little things. And they're like, there's going to be, it's like opportunities, but it's like, and it's like there's, it's like hidden gems. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Is the way that it feels to me. And so it's like, and they play a factor for what's to come. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And also, I don't know why they want to say, I know that I just know this personally, but you've been craving the connection, the doing, all that kind of stuff. But it is going to feel strange at times. And that alone will feel strange to you, because that's not your normal.
Right.
And so you're like, why does it feel like this? That's what I feel like you're going to have moments of. And by no means am I saying it's like going to be this overarching, but it's like, acknowledge it and move beyond it is what I want to say. Does that make sense? What do you want to say? What is it?
Sometimes it's like when you're used to being in certain playgrounds, it feels different to be in a different playground.
Yes. Oh, well, I like that.
Okay.
I'm going to use that analogy one day. I stole it from you.
Okay.
A moment's joy. We're going to get into more, guys.
I started laughing.
A moment's joy. Oh, yeah. The light. Y'all know. Ooh, that's hot. A moment's joy. Stand through the hourglass, yet time could stand still. A moment lasts forever in the bliss of the heart's will. That's what it is. It's almost as if you find the theme is the little things are as monumental or as important and impactful in your joy in restoring that energy in the transformation that's happening right now, as is the bigger things. Don't underestimate it, because what's missing is, from what they're telling me, is you're only experiencing joy in the big things right now, and it's like you at a core usually experience joy in all the things.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
And so it's like getting you back to that. That's your sweet spot.
Right. Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's really feeling it free, and like anything. I told y'all a story about how I was asked to dance one time, and I'm over here like, bitch, I dance all the time. What you talking about? I get up and I look like a fucking robot. My hips won't move. I'm suddenly getting self-conscious, and it dawns on me I hadn't danced in 2 years, and that is when I tell you that's all I used to do. Like, I'm like, I can still remember, and I think about it, and I was like, oh my God, when I went through the dark night of soul, I had stopped. I had to actually, you know how like you plan a date with your significant other? I had to plan dates.
Dancing dates.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But she was all like, and I'm looking at her like, what the fuck? She's like, let's dance. We're doing something totally unrelated. And she's all like, oh, let's dance. And she turns on music, and she's laughing up a storm. It's in her kitchen. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, I got this. And I did not have this.
Yeah.
Like, I realized in that moment, but like, we were in our yoga gear. It wasn't anything. And it's like, her laugh was just permanent. And I was just like, that's the thing. It's like that is your natural.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very natural. It feels like really strange for a lot of people, but it's very natural for me. Like, oh, we're going to go jump in this lake. Like,
yes.
Like,
and so but there's a sense of getting back into that, because I do think that it's like there was a pause in life, that a recalibration, the chrysalis, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I think I think there's probably a lot of people out there that can relate through this, like through like COVID, like lost the international business, not lost it, it's coming back, but paused a business, ending a relationship too, actually, since the time frame that you're talking about, like death of a parent, like so it's reminding me of like who I really am. Yeah. And playing still. It's coming like it's coming back. So like the grief pattern, this is where I trick myself sometimes. The grief pattern, it's like giving myself the time and allowance and the space to grieve. But oh my gosh, that just like, yeah, fuck that. Like,
Yeah.
Like, wow. Mm-hmm. That's been my wording recently too. It's like, oh, I need time, space to like grieve, which is true. And also, what is also equally true is to allow to be an allowance of the joy and play and my soul's core being. Still.
I would say, again, I'm going to use the analogy that I said, like if you're driving with my son and you're like, oh, we're about to die, you would die laughing, right?
Yeah,
like, and that working through things and healing doesn't have to be
hard.
And so it's like, is your mind trying to tell you, how dare you be happy? Because that's not going to help heal you when it actually will.
It actually will. Yeah,
like your process and your being and who you are. And so it's like your mind's trying to say, no, you need to behave like this. I don't know how your mind's saying it to you.
Wear black for 6 months.
And how dare you smile so much and want these adventures.
Love my mom.
Yes.
Like that was like.
How much of that do you feel like you feel being projected onto you?
I was just going to say, I can feel that from my family.
Yes.
Big time.
That somehow like grieving should look a certain way.
Yeah.
But your version of grieving, what really heals you, isn't what society tells us how something should look.
No.
And you may still go through the steps of grief.
Absolutely.
But it will not look like what people think it should look for you.
Well, it was the grief of like my marriage too. Like, so when we met, I was still, and I would just allow myself to like soul cry at times and then just still be in. It's those processes that allowed me to be in my joy so much. And I think this transformation is a little bit different. Like the soul crying doesn't really, it's more about being in my joy more.
Yeah. I just want to say that also might be part of what they're talking about. Like keep
so. That's what I'm just like, when I was like, oh, a grieving process, I was like, whoa, that's what was like being, that's what was being talked about. Because I haven't seen those words.
When it's almost like sometimes there'll be a trigger in our life, we experience something, but other shit comes up with it, right? Just like the detox. And so it's like, you think you're detoxing from candida, and it's like, all kinds of shit comes out. Like your cells have been holding on to so much. And it's like, as soon as it gets the green light to, and you know what I'm saying? And so like, when we talk about like that subconscious stuff that comes up, it's like purging the last little bit. Yeah. Because it just doesn't have space or place.
Yeah.
And what's to come. And so there's a bridge happening. But all right, so let's talk about the travel and the change. This is how like readings can go this way. So when you book a reading with me, we go into it. And this is what a Zoom one would look like. Like when we go back and forth. It's like exploring as much as it is getting information. So just so you're aware. It's funny, like, who else here? I'm telling you, I wish there was a...
Oh, because the counter isn't...
Yeah.
Yeah. I also love that everybody's from everywhere. We're like our own little anchors of divinity around the world.
Okay, so first we have at the heart of everything is return to joy. We've got the Ace of Cups, which is your cup being full. To the point where it's overflowing. It is allowing this to be how you lead everything, how you make your decisions, not the whatever wants to come up or the little, what I call gremlin thoughts or anything else like that, right? Or the should I's or the over analysis, any of that. This is pure joy and love, like your decisions being made from a space of love on everything. What am I going to do today? What am I going to eat? What am I going to blah, blah, blah. It is allowing that to infiltrate everything. So the overall energy is the Ace of Cups. So there's a joy and a love and fervor for life that's being restored. And it's taking you from the Five of Swords, which is the mental conflict. It is competing truths, right? Some of them not yours, some of them yours, that kind of thing. And then going into, she's the only person I know, well, her and my sister, that can drink coffee and still be like
yawning.
Yes.
So for me, yawning is when I'm releasing.
Oh.
So when I
kind of like when some of them, like I work with some people, they burp a lot when they do energy work.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and I would say that's them releasing. So there's a lot of projection out in this world too. But like when I'm yawning, I know I'm releasing something a lot of times. So it's not. Sometimes when I drink alcohol, though, and I'm tired, like, that's a real yawn. I'm like, okay, now I'm tired.
So I think that this whole like it's a restorative energy. It's restoring to joy, love,
right.
and being led with the heart. Is taking you from this mental conflict of what's true for you, and because of that, there's a whole brand new path and trajectory starting in life. Ace of Pentacles. Pentacles is all about our 3D existence, right? The material world, what things I can touch, taste, see, feel, smell, that kind of thing, right? This isn't the mental realm, emotional realm. This isn't my drive and motivation, my desires. This is my reality. You know what I mean? And so the Ace of Pentacles is the start of something new, physical, visible in your life, right? And so, so if there's something that you've been feeling like has needed to come through and it hasn't, it's because this is what has to be restored.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
That's where your magic comes from.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you call things in. So this is the Two of Cups. This is about your cup being full and bringing in another cup. So it's the reciprocity, it's the attraction, it's the what I call my brain wants to say engagement. I'm like, no, I don't know what you're talking about.
Like a ring on it.
That's what it's trying to say. Why am I not alignment?
Alignment.
Things that are in alignment with you, because it can't come in until you're back into this.
Mm-hmm.
This is your magic. This is your core. This is the way in which you should be operating for that which is a match for you, that's in alignment with you, to come in, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, that was a lot.
Damn.
Yeah.
So we've got, woo! That's what I'm talking. A lot of shit coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have the Sun card, which is victory, which is clarity, which is seeing things crystal clear, on an upbeat trajectory, being on the right path, type of thing, right? So the restoration of that. Then we have the Magician, which is now having all of the faculties at your disposal to be able to make shit happen. This is manifesting in your reality. This is bringing that which you imagined in the field of possibilities into your reality, if that makes sense. And then is the Seven of Cups. Now, Seven of Cups can be one of two things. It can be like confusion because of all the different things, but Seven of Cups is also the enormity of opportunity that finally presents, right? When there's like different cups, and then you get to choose which one is best suited for you, right? Does that make sense? And so what's in alignment for you? And that's what the Seven of Cups is. It's opportunity. And it's a lot of opportunity. And then puts the power back in your hands of, this is how I choose to move forward. Because I think that in playing with the field of possibilities, they're showing me that you played with a lot of scenarios. And it's like, the only way you're going to know how to move forward and what to do of all the opportunities that are meant to present themselves to you is to be, is in this, to be operating from this energy, Ace of Cups, your heart. And that way you will, it's like easier to identify what's for you. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so that's why they're saying it'll be just so much easier to bring things into reality. You'll manifest, and that's the Magician card. I feel like I'm meant to pull from over. So what is it's funny because they're giving me the importance of the overall of the time frame versus a specific event. High Priestess, it's restoration. High Priestess being, first off, the thing is, clarity. See, the book is open, but also in her hand, take a look in her hand. It's an egg, brand new beginning, brand new start. Okay. So eggs are all about the new. right? And so in this, from the whole point of this whole next phase is the level of clarity. It is operating and knowing what is for you. It is being completely in harmony with your intuition and the etheric guidance that you may get, and seeing things very clearly, what you are fated or destined for, if that makes sense. Because if the book is open, then you can tell what is written and how to get there and that kind of stuff. So like before the high priestess, there's a lot of, it's the empress, which is the gestation period, which is the giving birth. And it's like not quite sure how things are going to turn out, right? When we have a bun in the oven, we don't know exactly what it's like to be the mother. We don't know exactly what's going to happen and transpire in that life. The high priestess is, now that you've given birth, something has started, you started taking action, you're walking the path, things become crystal clear. Between the high priestess and the sun, that is a level of clarity that you've been seeking. It's also the kind that you can't
be told what to do.
Well, beyond that, it's like nothing could thwart you from it. Does that make sense? Like interfere with it. It's like you would be like, yeah, you would be able to recognize this level of discernment is understanding and knowing what is interference, what is noise, what is any of that stuff. Yeah. And so because of that, you it's like there's no diverting your path. Right. If that makes sense. Yeah. Whether it's internal or external. Yeah. Either way. And so that's why I want to say this is getting back into your magic, back into your high priestess. We all know what the high priestess is. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So go ahead.
It's so interesting because the next sailing activation, it's like literally I've called it like a gathering of priestesses. It feels like everyone is just like, oh, we were talking about that the other day, huh? Were we talking about that the other day? Yeah,
kind of ish.
And then the Binding the King's Code is coming back. So this feels like it's like there's this part of me that's like, oh, do I really want to bring it back? And then it's like, okay, yep,
yes,
yep,
yeah. So I'm gonna pull some of these so that we can get some more detail oriented, and then they're gonna whip out the moon magic, and we'll be done.
Whip it out.
We'll be done with the tarot read. And then at that point, we can talk about, Kelsey's like, I'm on and off. The trajectory of having children, I tell you.
Yes.
You know how that goes.
That's what one of mine was like messaging me earlier. That's what I was like, let me make sure he's alive. Okay,
right. He's alive. You can expect unexpected things. Okay, so unexpected income, there's expectation, which is what you've been waiting for, right? Expectation part is all about like, there's not much I can do but wait for something to occur or for the right moment.
It's like I can feel it. Is that what you're talking about?
But you can't, she's staring out the window. She's like, She knows something's meant to happen. She knows something's going to happen. And there's nothing you can do to speed it along other than she's ready and prepared, right? That's all she can do, because there's also an idea or this notion of the external energies have to be ready as well. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. It's like things are primed, and then we got unexpected income, which is really overall just everything, like something very unexpected coming in. So it's funny because here you are, you're like, I'm expecting something, but it's like you could have never expected what's actually coming in. Because it's unexpected. So I know something, but I don't know what it is.
Right, exactly. I've definitely been feeling that.
Mm-hmm.
Are we getting a ring on it?
Let's go a couple more cards. It's tingling again. Ooh. Guys, y'all remember I was getting really annoyed and I was telling them how I used to get the itchies or the tingles up here. And that's always how I knew, instead of like the nose itch I can't stand. I can't stand. But like the tingles always, and I'm always like, I missed that. I remember telling them I'm sick and tired of my nose. Like when the direct channels coming through and my nose would start going, like it would just irritate the I was like, I'd rather have my and it's like, I don't know.
I'd rather have this
the tingles and the like my head itching and that kind of stuff. Hold on one sec.
I'm like,
so there's so also some of the little things that you might want to pull yourself out of, don't, because they're meant to like connections that will be made. And it's like that again, will matter later on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so it's like let's not delay anything. Like there's something about constantly being in the do that keeps you on the trajectory for spirit to kind of like
organize it all.
Shaman's death and rebirth. We'll just put it out here. That was like quite kidding. So it's like it's the that's why they're giving me the divine timing, divine order of things. Like I've got to position you here, and like there's not any thinking you have to do, right?
Yes.
As long as you're in the do, then they can.
It just comes.
Yes, things can be brought into your life awareness, your path, that kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. This is not what you think. We got false person, but false person is also like just the masquerade ball. Like what is real, what isn't. It's like the unknown card. And I'm like, okay, I'm clarifying this really quick because
I've been feeling that too somehow.
Yeah, there's support coming in. So we've got the false person and the wealthy man. And I actually do feel a person's energy behind it.
I felt my person for a little while, and I am not for a while.
There's a level of support that you have that's been absent that's coming in. We have the courtship card with community being like the people that are loyal to you, those that will aid, support, services, resources, all that kind of stuff. Like what makes you feel the energies that kind of back you up, got your back kind of energy, right?
Yeah.
And there's a sense of the more you get out, community is the doing. It is getting out, socializing, it is connecting. You know, when you do, you always connect everywhere you go. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like that's the whole point. They want you out of this cocoon and without they're giving me the word operative. Like you're not like there's not an agenda. There we go. No agenda, right? And it's not the agenda of meeting somebody. It's not the agenda of it's just doing.
Yeah, I'm going to like.
And in that sense, when you're out and about, is when you're going to meet somebody because the courtship card is all about new contacts, and especially since they're saying unexpected, it's almost like what you don't see. They're bringing. You're expecting one thing, and like some very unexpected events are meant to happen over the course of the next. I'm going to stick with 4 months because they're not giving me. I keep seeing it on the calendar. They're not giving me anything beyond that. I'm sure it impacts things beyond that, but there's something about the next little bit, right? And so it's that these things are just unknown to you. Like it's just like you know what I mean. And in fact, in the meeting of people, you may not. You won't necessarily recognize. That's my person right away, or that's somebody I'm going to, you know what I mean? But I do get the sense that through the new connections and support networks and networking, there's somebody that you meet, somebody very important. And I do think that's going to be the wealthy male. We'll see exactly how that's going to go. That's funny. On the split, we have the ring. I couldn't say the right word with the 2 of Cups. I kept saying engagement. So this is also about high level commitments. This could be contracts. This can be, but it is an actual commitment to something, like a genuine, sincere commitment, longevity, if that makes sense. And on this, we have very, very positive bouquet. Okay, that's like luck. That's like it turns whatever reading. It's like this is a really good, exceptional encounter. You're going to meet somebody very beneficial to your path. I will say that there's probably, and here's the thing, just to keep let's give reality. Maybe somebody you meet on your path then introduces, you have no clue, but they're going to introduce you to through networking, through making those connections, you then get to, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So I think that's why they're like, just don't have, we have the unknown, something being revealed to you. Yeah. So this is all about like, again, like the High Priestess's book being opened. It's the I know something, like it's the knowing at a soul level something, but not knowing on a human level, like what, you know what I mean? And it's like having that revealed, if that makes sense. Okay. Get the female out. Give me just a second. It's funny.
I knew that one was coming out.
It's funny because we have the something being revealed, something coming to you, secrets, the unknown now being known. You know what I mean? And then we have the female card with the burden. The cross is like the burden that you're, you know what I mean? And then this is, this again, the ring comes out, but fox means family.
Yeah.
And it's as if like there's a burden. This, you know, I could try and say and link it to the situation with your family and your mom and everything, but that's not what I'm getting. I am getting like family comes in, like true family comes in, like somebody that you see and connect with as family, like those that are going to be permanent in your life, someone permanent, because longevity, commitment, support, that type of thing. And then it's the fox is, yes, it's gonna be clever and everything else like that, but that's always the fox is known for family.
I've been fox has been coming like for a couple months. Like,
this is a book. We're gonna put these back.
Interesting.
All right, girlfriend, it's all up underneath you. Oh, there it is.
Okay, again, the people that are meant to stay in your life that you will now call family, high probability there would be a partner involved in this. Like they're definitely indicating that. But I think on a broader level, we have the pathway card, which is one about transformation, but two, it's longevity as well. When we're looking at timing, much like the 10 of Pentacles would be a really long time, this is a timing card. This is like a real, they're indicating for a very long time, like something's coming in that's going to last. Does that make sense? And this is also like a new path coming in. And of course, we got 22, which is about partnership. And then we have the birds, which they're blue jays. And blue jays are known, or bluebirds are known for, they're indicative, much like like seahorses. They're like your soul family, your soul contracts, your soul, like soulmate type of energy, right? Like destined to meet, destined to come in. It's the family you choose versus the family that you were born into, type of thing. And then we have dog, which is all about loyalty, commitment, integrity, trustworthy, that type of energy, right? It's like true kindred spirits,
right,
coming in. And so like there's something about you're gonna be pulling in new people. And in the midst of that, I can't ignore between the ring card coming a million times, the 2 of Cups also can mean love. It's like, and the Ace of Cups. It's like, it's putting you in this completely different energy. And from being in that energy, it's like you're able to build things in your life, because that energy, that energetic space, and how other people can help amplify that for you, especially a partner, is really how you work well at building. Like it amplifies your trajectory. It amplifies what you're attempting or trying to do and accomplish. Does that make sense? Okay, so that is coming through. And we've got one more, because this is another one they mentioned. And this is a pretty magical one. Now, if there's anything they want to drive home and reiterate, and it's just very unexpected, okay? Between the unexpected card and the false person, where it's like this person's hidden from you. You don't know. It's like, don't even try to guess kind of energy is what I would say, is that it's like, it's going to completely surprise you.
Right.
You know, like at a masquerade ball, anybody could be the person, right? They all look the same.
Right.
Ideally.
Yeah.
That's the notion, is that you don't know who anybody is. So there's this sense of a reveal.
So cool.
Okay, that does not feel
right.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. I got that too. Like when it dropped, I was like, huh.
Yeah.
But
that doesn't even.
Fly by night. Ooh. What is it? Love?
Lover's moon.
And
And it's so funny because we have fly by night,
Mm-hmm.
which would be like really romantic chemistry induced type of encounters, but not necessarily something that's longevity.
Right.
And so it's like I get the energy of this is the transitory period, is ridding yourself of those people in your life that are fair weather. Remember, full circle, we were talking about in the beginning about how people are good as long as you don't shine brighter than them, or as long as you don't, that kind of thing. And it's like those type of people, it's like that's going away, right? And then we have the sky god, and I usually read some of these, but we all know what lover's moon is. So you're on a trajectory. Love is in the air, whether you realize it or not, but it's actually there. And I think it's going to be multiple things. I think I get, especially with community card, a lot of people being attracted, and that's why all the little things are going to be really important, because you pull them in with your levity, with your playfulness, with your, you know what I mean? That's what attracts them. That's what puts you on their radar and then on yours, right? Because when you're in that energy, you also recognize more whether somebody's in alignment with you.
Yep.
So, and then we've got, so let's just do this really quick. Are you holding up okay? Are you holding up okay? Because these things can go.
Yeah, good.
Allow your kindness to shine. Just so that you're aware, we're talking about sky god. Allow your kindness to shine, but be careful not to give out too much, or you could find yourself experiencing compassion fatigue. You cannot help others if your own reserves are depleted. This card indicates that a time of fun and frolic is at hand and is much needed.
Yay.
They're just reiterating everything like that.
Yeah, literally.
It says the divine masculine offers you strength, protection, and resilience. You may be coming out of a time of difficulty, but you have the inner fortitude. Okay.
Amazing.
And then supermoon really quick. I think we're just kind of wrapping this up. There's victory, fate, success. This is the card of success. Oh, let me show you all. This is one of my favorite ones. It looks really beautiful.
It is
supermoon. And it says, achievement and success in your endeavors. Know that you are about to experience the kind of power surge that only comes from victory. Maintain a steady progress towards your goals. There's a sense of fate and destiny to this card. You're on the right path, and you will eventually emerge triumphant from all that hard work.
That's it.
What is your thought process on this?
Wow. That's my thought process right now.
Is this something that is like more confirmation for you on what you have been sensing and feeling and going through, or is there something new to it that you are able to take away?
A little bit of both. So in the beginning, sometimes there's the things that are like hard to hear. You need to hear them, but you don't want to hear them. So there's a little bit of that because I was like, "Ooh, I'm just coming out of that fudge," But it was more about like, okay, like be in ritual again because I actually really thrive in that. Be in the doing again, and the doing of what I love to do. Which is why the joy and the play came in lots, and like really loving life and loving this world and the people in it, and like bringing that out to play a lot more because it's here always. It's just expressing and showing it. And
being in the state of allowance of it.
And the state of allowance of it. And not worrying about what anyone else says. If it's like wrong, to be happy. Not really.
You wouldn't think,
right?
You wouldn't think, but there are
people who that
will make that very wrong.
And that was the relationship that I was in last. Like that was the coming out. I learned a lot. And yeah, joy. And then I have been feeling like you know, because you know me, like I'm not the person who needs, like, I'm not like, oh my gosh, I just broke up with this person, so I have to go find other attention from somebody. You know what I mean? There's not a lack of, I'm not bored. I'm not, it's very intentional. Like,
Mhm.
so what was I saying there? I forgot. That's funny. Yeah. Let it be, like that one. I just let it be.
Hey, if it's meant to come back.
Yeah, it's like no, that just gets to stay over there. Like, don't even talk about it.
Mhm.
And then like I've been feeling. That's what been feeling something, someone like because my deepest desire has always been to create with my person. You know what I mean? Like that is actually what I want to do, because I think there's such a beautiful energy that comes in with that. I am also very aware of the rarity of that at times, because of like I hold myself to a certain level, and the reciprocation of that is important to me.
Yeah.
I'm not willing to be in anything that's not good for me.
Yeah.
So I'm excited, like, because I feel like that actually, like, where the amplification of both people in the partnership, the union,
Yeah,
is like equally yoked, but in different ways. And
yeah,
like what gets to be brought forth through that is going to be freaking epic.
mm-hmm.
And to remember to like keep rolling with my things as well. Yes. Like, yeah.
Because it feels a little bit like, it's almost like like when we keep talking about the purge, it's like the last remnants of whatever this last little phase was for you, any amount of transformation. Because sometimes we think, when people hear transformation, sometimes we think, oh, upheaval and all kinds of stuff's about to happen. It's like transformation, remember, doesn't have to be
correct.
And it's funny that all the stuff we talked about in the beginning is coming back. They're like, let me remind you. It's all intentional, right? It's all purposeful. And so it's like, you know, that initial response of, oh, I thought I was done with that kind of thing. You are. This is the embodiment.
It feels done. Yeah, it totally like feels like,
but like muscle memory,
yes.
Sometimes there might be parts of you that are like, oh, like it'll, what was always felt so natural to you may feel a little strange.
Yeah,
times now.
And I think what I really gathered through this too is like it feels so natural to me, like being in specific actions of it and doing it differently in the way of like grounded in practices.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that makes sense. So like
it doesn't mean
running. Okay, so like running like weekly masterminds again, you know, and actually building that. Like versus.
Can I also just say that to me, when you say practice or your rituals, it's like I'm thinking of you and the way that you used to do things, and not used to, like everything from how you took your showers to how you made time for certain, like it's like life is a ritual.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's like maybe some of that was missing. Like
yes, it has been for a while because I was made wrong for it. So to me, like the tantra practice is actually getting off of all of life. Like it's getting off on all,
which is what they said. They were like the moment's joy. Like that's exactly it. Mm-hmm. It's like that's your natural state. That is your natural state.
Yes, and I think like the last few weeks I have realized more and more. Like so, since it's been my natural state, it's been strange. I haven't seen myself in a lot of ways. Like I don't like. It's been, people have been like, oh my gosh, like you're amazing and awesome. And I'm like, thanks, so are you? You know what I mean? And then I've been in the actions of like following my knowing of like doing this, like just following like my soul and my heart. And then now I think I'm really getting, I don't know how to describe this completely.
Well, let's just try.
Because there's always this part of me too that doesn't want to feel like obtuse or egotistical but I'm really getting what me being in my magic and like who I be brings to the world. Mm-hmm. Because I'm all about empowering other people. So it's not about like, it's like, it's not an ego trip for me. It's actually true empowerment. And since I've been in this space for like a little while and like realizing the rarity of that too, I feel like that's been a thing for the last few years for me of like, whoa, that person is not who they say they are.
Yeah.
You know, and that just has been like, at times. And then now I'm like, okay, this that doesn't even matter at all. What matters is like my path and what's coming through and bringing forth, like, and
well, it gives you a level of discernment.
yes, that.
But also a level of discernment, not just for yourself, but for others. It's like, it's again, going through that which those you'll impact. It's like, why is it so difficult for this person to come out of this? Or why is this not, it's almost like you having to refine your true essence and core.
Yeah.
Refine, you know what I'm saying?
I know, yeah.
Is what you help other people do.
Yeah.
And it's like, almost like getting the chrysalis phase was to like ground in what you do in just being you for others at a very deep level. Because it's almost like sometimes the acknowledgement and the understanding and the acceptance of what we do for people is on a very surfacey level. And it's like, no, you need to understand at a deep, deep, deep core what you offer, because then you'll never question it again. You know what you have, and it's who you are. And so sometimes the shitty shit that we go through, because that's how the chrysalis is not fun. I was mush for, you know what I mean? There's a whole deconstruction and alchemization, and it's not always fun. And I know that I just sat there and told y'all that she told me that, it can be as easy or as hard as I want it to be, but bitch, I made that shit hard because I was not happy. Not happy at all. Okay. Like I was like, no, like my innards were like dying. I was very dramatic about it. I was in here swinging with, I was like when I tell you.
Oh my gosh, I remember. Like there was a lot.
Like I am just like, kind of thing. Like and it was like, I joke around with them. I'm like, if you saw me in my room, when I'd be having that with spirit, you'd be like, who is that bitch talking to? Because I'd be like I am going at it spiritually with spirit. I'm like, because, and here's the thing, my spirit team, they ain't weak. They are not. They understand the death process that I am going through, and they're like, you get to have your time. They may not entertain some of my antics, but they also do not turn their, like my spiritual team has never turned their back on me in the midst of those moments. And in fact, some of those moments are very vital for what is coming next for me and for what the level of understanding it gives me. Right? Because when we talk about having someone having walked that fucking path before you, before they tell you to go do it. Right. It's literally, it's like people need to recognize what that can mean. Yeah.
It's not like sales or marketing tactics. It's truly, it's embodied wisdom. So it's like embodied wisdom to me is such gold versus like all the sales and marketing tactics now. Like, so, and that's been one of the reasons why I feel like it's been hard for me to come out in a lot of ways, because I can't do it salesy. Yeah. Like, and I've been in the financial planning world for 20 years. Like I know sales and marketing. I haven't trained either or. Like there's so many sales techniques, but it's not about that to me. At all. But shoot, whatever, I forgot what you were saying, but I lost it. But it's embodied wisdom. Yes. So it's like when I was like leaving the Mormon church, like I would help people, like they would message me and I'd be like, don't leave until you're ready, because it is not a fun process. Or like getting a divorce, you know what I mean? Like it's like when you're having a baby, you can read all the books, like, but actually experiencing it is a way different.
It is.
It's a different thing.
And it's like, or, there is a flood, and I'm going to acknowledge this, of people in the spiritual community who have done surface level work on themselves, just enough to know how good it can, you know what I mean? And it's like, then they somehow think that, and then you'll have people who talk about and these are all terminologies that we use to frame things. Obviously everybody can have their own perspective, but there are people who are like, I went through the healing process, I started my spiritual journey, and I thought I was going crazy. I thought that I was, they talk about Kundalini awakening and when that thing happens and how your body starts doing things and your mind, and it's like you feel like, and you get to a certain place, and it's like some people can get all the way through the healing, and then the embodiment is something completely different.
Yeah.
And they think, oh, I thought I was done healing. You are. You're not healing.
Yeah.
But you are reprogramming. You're remyelinating your brain. And it's like, it's scary as fuck. And it will. Like, people, just because you get triggered doesn't mean you still have something to heal. You can get triggered because you're experiencing something new.
We live in Earth.
Right? Right? It's like,
Earth.
So the idea to me is just that just this, it's some of the people out there will lead people only to a certain point, and then people have been left.
And I think that's
in that moment of fear of like, and then they bail. Does that, or backslide, you know what I mean? Because it's like there's no one. And so the importance of, I feel like I am also talking to myself right now, like the importance of what I've gone through is, because that's what I've always done is, and I wouldn't want to teach somebody about something or work with somebody on something that I haven't yet experienced, like to a certain degree, right?
Right, because there is that.
I can't experience everything in this earth, because of who I am and what my life is. But it's experience on an energetic level is what I'm trying to talk about. It's like I don't live every experience on this earth, but I can speak to processes. I can speak to the energies of. I can speak to that kind of thing. Because there's a piece that whole, when we talk about disarming with you and stuff like that, it is an energetic recognition that I also had when you were framing things or probing or anything like that, right? Where it's like there's a level of recognition in your energy that you understand that that's embedded almost in you. That process that you've come out the other side. Like I can feel it. It's not how your life looks. It's not how pretty you say something. It's not how you market it. It is in the presence of your energy. It is being seen. And the only way you're able to see me is because you've
been there, done that.
Yes. It's like, and so that is so important for somebody to actually be able to hold you or hold space for you in that, is because they can.
The deepest healings that I have taken, I feel like people through like because I have different backgrounds, right? There's like a couple different Reiki masters and like that I don't even like. It's like, and the shamanic techniques and the psychology, but the deepest healings ever is just witnessing people without trying to change them. So just witnessing, and then teaching people how to do that in and of for themselves too.
Without judgment.
Without judgment. That's what. Yes, without judgment. Like witnessing your inner child as she's having the biggest meltdown ever because she experienced abuse and nobody was fucking there for her. So now it's reparenting that, reprogramming in that, and you getting to be like, I see you. Thank you for showing the fuck up. Like, and I'm not trying to judge you. I'm not trying to shame you. I'm just giving you the space right now to go through those emotions. And then I get to ask you what you need and then reparent you. And then my whole entire system feels different after that.
Yeah. Like
I am a different freaking person after that because I've just witnessed the pieces of myself that have needed to be witnessed forever and ever and ever and ever. And that's why I celebrate it so big. Like, it's like just witnessing, not judging, not anything, like giving all the multifaceted pieces of you space, like just space.
You know what it reminds me of? It is, because I think what you're saying is it goes beyond the mental acknowledgement of something. Like I always used to joke back in the day, like things would hover, and then the aha moment where it throughout your body you understand now.
Yes.
And so it's like that acknowledgement and the witnessing is on a different kind of level. It's not just a mental
It's not mental at all. Like it can't be mental. Like to me, because the witnessing gives it the space to actually drop in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, cause like all these timelines or whatever we want to call it, like that are there for us. Like if we can't see it, like because we're so here, like. Which is what you're speaking to. Like I've been there a little bit like, recently. Like normally I'm like, "Oh, hey tree, let's have a conversation." and then like when you're going through shit, sometimes it's like the capacity, the emotional bandwidth, the energetic bandwidth just isn't there, and that's okay too. But just not to get stuck in it. So I used to say that all the time too. So it's like, okay, not getting stuck there.
Yeah,
like the allowance of
it's moving through it, not setting up house.
Right.
It, right? It's
right.
Yeah. Because that's what I think it is. Like when you say, and I think that's what the witnessing is. Yes. Is seeing. It's like taking the suit that I exist in, all the masks, all the layers, and it's unzipping it, and it's like that raw vulnerability of being seen.
Yes, and it is very raw, and I forget that.
Like the parts that I don't even look at. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing, right? And so, but to get to where it is that I want to go, or to move through this healing process, or getting back to the core essence of who I am, requires.
It really does.
That, you know what I mean? And so it's like,
and then you can't live any other way.
Exactly.
Like once you're actually like real and vulnerable and all the things, like.
That point of no return. It's like, I can't unknow this. I can't unknow it now.
Nor can you be around in spaces where that's not available.
Yeah.
Like, I can't for too long. I mean, you can play there for a little while, but like, I'm like, oh, this is why I love my people so much, is because there are not any masks. We have done the quote unquote work to
and continue
so always, right? Like we
and it does the work of expansion is what I want to say.
And it gets easier. So there's typically 2 or 3 traumas that people get to like really heal and soothe in their nervous system. And then once you get used to the process, it becomes easier and easier. It's not like...
So my saying is this, and this is what I tell people, and I'm going to make a t-shirt of it and everything else like that, is that healing is really just the process of learning to live.
Oh, yeah.
It's what we should have been doing all along.
Right.
Because had we been doing that, had we been taught that, had it modeled to us, had we experienced it, then we wouldn't have formed these deep-seated wounds and traumas and things like that, because we would have been able to move through things, and be an allowance of this experience and all that kind of stuff. And it's like literally healing is just learning how to live.
Absolutely. And this is why I want to jump ships of where I live now, because like I don't fit here anymore. My nervous system is so not programmed for trauma, drama.
Yep.
I can't even understand half the shit that people watch on TV. Like I literally don't understand why there's a desire for so much. You know what I mean? Like it's not in my field anymore. And also how we are raising our children. So I was like writing about this the other day of like, I'm so thankful that my father was like, go explore whatever religion you want to. You know what I mean? It wasn't like you have to be this or you're wrong. It's go find yourself. Like you get to be your own human. And I think that's so important and something that we've lost in our culture a lot of like such a fallacy. Like you have to agree with me or you're not right is bullshit. Like it's complete bullshit. We all get to have our own things, and like learning how to have the emotional capacity to not have to just be with people who like think you're right all the time. Like boo. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Boo on that.
So
which is normal in I think a lot of different cultures that I've experienced. Like you go and you have coffee with everybody, and it doesn't matter. Like I don't know how to explain it completely, but. Yeah. Get it.
So I offer even my peeps this sometimes. So I'm just going to offer it up to you, and I'm going to put you in the hot seat really quick. Okay, you cool with it?
Yeah.
And I promise you, like I make sure that my people know that I am not in some sense of authority.
Correct.
That this is a reciprocal relationship here.
Yeah.
And so I even have like a private group, and sometimes I'm like, hey. I feel prompted to ask you, do you feel anything from me? Do you sense anything? Mm-hmm. And that can be uncomfortable for some people. And it's like, I trust you. Mm-hmm. And I trust my own discernment. Mm-hmm. So I only take on what I feel
Correct.
resonates with me. So you don't have to feel bad. I do
Right.
them. You can ask
I'm not
LP,
codependent
you can ask
anymore.
Nishka,
Right.
you can ask all of them, right? Even Kelsey has sent me something like, I'm feeling this, just want to let you know. And I love that because I need support too. So
It's community.
I'm going to ask you,
Yeah.
and I don't fucking know what she's gonna say.
I
I always
don't
put
know.
myself in the fucking hot seat when I do this. Are you in this space picking up anything that you feel like you need to relate to me? I am open for any messages that might come through for me as well.
Yeah.
Not that you have to. I'm just saying. I always want to give that opportunity.
So mine normally comes through as like energy medicine or body work, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times. Give me a second.
Yes.
Cool. Okay, got it. Are we open to playing a little bit? Is this
Yeah.
Okay.
Y'all get to watch me. You get to watch her and her magic, and you get to watch me receive and me get uncomfortable because I'm like, fuck, I didn't know this was going. I didn't know this is where it was gonna go. I never do. I literally open myself up to this all the time.
So how should I do this? Let's see. I'm gonna put this here. And okay, so I'm just going to send you a frequency.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna ask you how you felt it
Okay.
in your body. So put your left hand over your navel.
Okay.
Okay. Whoa, interesting. Okay. Tell me when you're complete. Like when you feel something.
I am feeling something.
Okay.
I'm also seeing something with it. They're giving me like a visual of how this feels. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you can explain it. I'll give you like, these are like, did you feel lighter? Did you feel grounded? Did you feel fire? Did you feel electricity? Ice.
So two things. When I am getting very direct work from what feels like spirit, it always feels ice to me.
Ooh.
Like I'll get spots that feel like really cold and the rest of my body does not. Like there's something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this one was lighter, as in this is what was happening to me.
Yeah.
I felt like somebody was grabbing like a
Here?
harness or something and pulling me up.
Okay, cool. So
Like it's almost like putting me on my. I was like, I felt like I had those hooded jackets and like somebody's pulling me up and then putting me back on my feet. Does that make sense?
Cool. Yes, that's how I experience that frequency a lot too. Like like the room feels like it moves up through. I'm like, oh hey, we're going to the cosmoses. Okay, so you could always say, spirit, show me what it feels like to be light.
Okay. I sometimes say stuff in my head, guys, okay? Because I get really awkward. Okay.
It's okay. Yay. I'll play with both too. And then you can say spirits in the frequency of light to everyone watching this.
Am I supposed to speak on what I'm saying? Like what I'm
You can.
So when I ask what it feels to feel like, I literally felt like I was floating this much off the ground, and like instead of walking, I'm just like
levitation.
Yes, that's exactly what it was.
Yes,
like but I'm moving, but it's like I'm like I don't feel my legs. Like it feels like I'm up off the ground.
Yes.
When I asked to send light to everybody, I feel it here.
Mm-hmm.
But then I also see like smoke or clouds disseminating.
Ooh,
Does that make sense?
Yeah, making space for you.
like it's like swirls, just kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is really, really a beautiful exercise for if you're ever in like heaviness, spirit, like show me again what it feels like to be light. Or spirit, draw lightness out of this situation.
Gotcha.
Or spirit, I'm ready to be light now. Like just, the ice is really beautiful for healing traumas. So
that makes sense. Because right in the beginning, like even way back when we had first reconnected,
too.
But it literally would. Like even when you did work on me, or when I'm out meditating on my own, it'll be a very specific spot. It won't be like all of me, but it would feel like very cold. And there's no wind. It'd be midsummer, y'all. So 90 degrees outside in the morning.
Yes.
I'd be sitting and it would light up.
So you can literally like spirit bring in the frequency of ice.
Okay.
Send that frequency to the areas of my body that need healing.
Mm-hmm.
And then for me, it literally will freeze over. Like I've had the experience of freezing over my heart and then shattering, or like freezing over like the right ear and then like shattering. But typically a lot of times people will have like one element or two elements that they play with greater than the other one.
Mm-hmm.
And then the grounding is really ancient knowledge. Like if you're in chaos, you can spirit show me what it feels like to be grounded into the earth, or spirit show me grounding. And literally I feel like I'm going like down.
Yeah.
And then but if you're in like a lot of chaos, you can do that, or up, or electricity is really kind of fun to play with too.
Electricity is what happens when you touch me. Or like I feel things move, guys. I know that sounds so weird. She did something on me one time, and like I got the cold, and I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I swear to you, and it freaked me out a little bit.
Yeah.
But I said nothing, but it felt like, I fucking promise you, it felt like a snake. And it went like up my back, and it went, but it's like, it's what I would imagine when you see those videos of like the parasites or something underneath somebody's skin, and you see it wriggling. Like when I tell you I felt something, and I remember afterwards you were like, I don't know, I've never had somebody so knotted, so many cords.
Yeah.
And she's like, and you said, I did this and something unraveled. And I was like, I didn't say shit to her. Didn't tell her anything. Tried not to move. But it was like, freaked me out.
Yeah.
Because it felt like something literally in my skin and it was huge. And it was like a worm or a snake and I remember, I'm just getting excited now telling you all the story, okay? No. But I also remember you continued to do work on me, and I kept feeling it move to different parts of my body.
Did you release it?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because I was like, that's the most important part.
Yes.
Like,
but it was when you're in the moment and you're feeling something that feels very tangible.
It is tangible, but
it's like, because you think, like to me, like sometimes feeling light just feels very, kind of thing. But this is like,
embody, like that's in the body, like you can feel it, like you literally feel like you're levitating.
Yes. Yeah. So
for me it's like playing with your magic more. So what I got, like what the message is like, don't forget that part too, because readings are cool, like this is amazing and awesome, and also you're
more than that.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And so is everybody watching. Like well,
and that's the message I keep getting, is something about like there's more to my magic than I'm acknowledging.
Yes.
And that I get to experience it, and I'm over here like in the brain going, well, what? I don't know what. I don't know what you're talking about. Like I'm trying do me, like not do me, but you know what I mean. Like show me, and it's like, but I know that I have to. Okay, it's coming up all over my head again. I have to actually take action on intentional. It's like being very intentional. Like for a while, like the things that I know that put me in a state of allowance to discover those things, right? Which we talk about all the time. And for me, is nature. Like I have to get out. There's something about connecting with nature and water specifically that really, it's like that's when I'm really primed and ready to receive, and I'm open to things. It's like, things can come to me in my day-to-day life, but if I don't also take that time to do that,
absolutely,
it's almost as if I'm checked out even in my day-to-day. So the more I do that, I could be just doing things around the house and stuff will come through.
It's filling your cup too. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then so sit up straight for me.
I was already naturally doing it.
And then spirit, have her lean to the left or the right.
Left.
So discerning of where you're getting your information to. Like, so when you're getting information,
Mm-hmm.
you can always ask them if there's like spirits of the light.
Mm-hmm.
And if they say no, then you get to say, bye, motherfucker.
Mm-hmm. That's been something of that I have, that's been part of my chrysalis, has been working with various energies, but also, like I've talked about this before, like I work with the energy, the energy that I work with is Bast. And she shows up to almost like patrol the perimeter of the spirits that I work with that are coming through. Like even on what I consider like
Your
my
own
spiritual
personal-
team. Yes. So I have my inner circle and I have my gatekeepers, but there are spirits that like get attracted to, right?
Absolutely.
And so she walks, like that's her protection is that
literally walking around.
it is
circle.
literally making sure what like she casts out anything that's not, but it's something that I've been doing. Like my relationship with that has developed over the last 6 months.
Cool.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I've just been speaking to it. Like every time
cool.
a cat shows up, I've just been speaking to people about that because I'm also careful, and I know everybody does it differently, but I'm careful of whether or not to say of the light, because to me, that's a matter of perspective, you know, as to whether or not something's, and that I feel like I'm dualistic. Like there are definitely spirits that I work with that others would deem not of the light, but are always there in my corner, have my back, and for my highest good. One that we have taught, and we're gonna go there. So if I trigger anybody, I apologize. I don't apologize. I'm so sorry. I really actually don't. That was a lie. Let's go all the way back. Yeah, to Italy.
Well, because you know I know. Oh, Lucifer.
Yeah. Always heavily present. Black Madonna. Yeah. She's the one entity, energy, whatever you want to call it, that I channeled, like opened up and allowed to come through me. Like anytime I receive, you don't remember on the boat and you were doing the drums and everything else like that, and then somebody knocked on the door and scared the living shit out of all of us. We all screamed because I was channeling Black Madonna and I was going around with, I've got, oh my god,
yeah, I am so bad. I have my memory.
Oh my gosh.
But so it's when I'm in those moments too.
Yes,
like,
you're in your
like
And so I've never had a spirit come through me like that. Like this was the one and only time. Like usually I utilize I have a team to filter everything. So it's really my team that's coming through to me, just relaying the message from the others. Like that's another layer of protection I have. But this one was one that I opened up to and allowed to come through. And so when that got disrupted, I about shit a brick on the boat. It scared it. I screamed. It took me so out of it. Like when you see on movies when people jump because something comes out, like it was. Yeah. You'll have to ask Antonina. She'll remember.
I will.
And so like, there are energies that I can connect with that. Some people will heavily talk about the Fae and how don't trust them and everything else like that. But like,
I great for manifesting.
I work with
some of them, right?
You know,
I don't know names a lot.
Right, I know.
Who are you? And are you good? Like, are we here to
like? Are you in alignment with me? Yeah. Are you here for my highest and best good kind of thing? Yeah. So I kind of get really like, I don't know, but that energy of knowing who and
it's important
and what, because I've also talked about recently, and I don't know if you've picked up on this, I apologize if I'm going on a tangent, but something that I noticed is who I allow to speak over me, because I have allowed people who I know love me dearly, who would support me, have my back, but what their version of protection for me and what my version of protection, or what is good, because I've got some very Christian-based individuals who ask to pray, and I've always allowed them to. Yeah. But what if what they are praying is an obstruction on my path, because I'm allowing them to speak energy over me and I'm open and willing to it. So it's almost like allowing it. And I have noticed that creates, how do I put this? It's like debris in my energetic field. And I've had to take myself out of like, me not allowing certain people to speak something over me, or maybe me not accepting it.
So there's a difference of allowance and
Yes.
taking on and accepting it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
So it's one of those things where, because I was also, the lack of discernment led me to believe, oh, well, nothing bad could come from whatever, like they're in alignment. And I'm like, technically they're not. Good people who love you dearly cannot be in alignment with you and what you want in your life and what is energetically aligned with you.
If they're in judgment of you.
Yeah. Or their truth is different than you.
Yeah.
Because they can just because of what I do, there's a lot of people I can tell you, especially where I live, that they're not okay with this tarot or any form of divination or speak, that kind of thing. And so if they were to speak something over and that kind of stuff, I used to allow it. And like, be like it was a very okay thing. Like, I don't know, it's one of those things where it's like, where's your discernment, Shauna? Like learn that not everything, it goes to the whole, like, just because somebody loves you and just because somebody would want the best for you. And even though these are some people who would show up for me, but they think I'm in such a wrong place that their energy and what they want from me would, you know what I'm saying? It's like they would, if I didn't have a place to stay, they'd open up their home. If I didn't have that kind of thing, like they would come to bat. But they view me as not standing in my power, somebody who's lost, and like they need to shroud me in. And when you have I'm a firm believer, when there's a large group, which is why getting out of this space is important, that all of their energies are counteracting yours. It gets you in a space of where you're treading water versus having mastery over the energies that are around you. Because then I get to a space of, it takes a lot for me just to manage my own energy.
Yeah, environment's important, and also visioning people up is important and allowing them to be exactly where they are. And there's like small increments, right? Like, so yeah.
Because and I have no desire to change what they believe. Correct. I have no desire to look down upon them because it's different than mine. But I also have to recognize that does not make them in alignment with me.
That's your expectation for people, for how they come into your world as well. Like to not change them, to not look down upon them. Like,
and it's like, it's really based upon what I allow in. So when we're talking about, like, you're like, beware of what you're channeling, it's also just period. What energy am I working with? What energy am I allowing an allowance for? What energy? And so it's like, sometimes I get out of being aware. Does that make sense? Like I don't want to say, it's not even cloudy. It's like I get to a place where I'm like, I'm in my own little world that I don't even, like, I'm not having a recognition of what's around. Does it make sense? Like, just, I'm talking like people, like energy, like the energies that are surrounding me, which is where I think even being aware of who I'm channeling or what messages are coming through or what am I working with, like, I think that's all encompassing. I think it's all the same thing to me. Am I making sense, or am I talking gibberish here?
You're making sense. I think those, like, what we were speaking to, like rituals being is an important piece, and like just knowing your power too, like setting up, and you do, like that's what, like setting up the field of like nothing's gonna get in if it's not for my best, if it's not for my highest and good.
And I think that sometimes I've gotten conflictual with that.
I think we all do at times.
You know what I'm saying?
This is why we all,
like, I establish that, but then I'm like, oh, this is okay. And
Yeah.
because I'm viewing it as something that's positive, I'm viewing them as great people, or I'm viewing da-da-da. And I'm just like, oh, sure. And I'm like, wait a minute. Am I listening to what they're saying? Do I know what energy? Because it's not so much what someone does, it is the energy that backs it up. Right? So when we talk about black magic, it's like magic is magic. There's no like, it's the energy that fuels something, the intentions behind at which something's being sent out. And so it's like that, like, look beyond the visible, Shauna, look beyond. And I got so wrapped up in my existence and my not wanting to be stuck that I want to say I wasn't
until you were
in my power. Yeah, until I was. Yeah. But like there was a period of time that I had to, there was like, that's what I would say I was going through over the last 6 months, is just a lot of discernment.
Well, that's where it's like
and awareness.
What we were just talking about is like, we are all like none of us, like, we all are here too, you know. So it's like I am functioning at my best when I have this circle of people around me that we do like 2 notes on each other. You know what I mean? Like, we can't even like Shaman Durr, like, he has people like I send him stuff sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, we are here. Like our bodies are here. So we are going to experience, you know, these things. Sorry, I don't know the tarot very well, so
she still reads for me though.
I do. I don't.
She understands energy, and that's the thing.
I don't know shizzle about like 4 cups or like, you know, any of that kind of stuff. But we're gonna just pull something here like this. There's the back card. And this one. Sorry, not sorry. I'm like, sorry, not sorry. Ooh, I like the King of Earth, whatever that is. And then we're gonna do one more from this one, and it's that one. Sexual seduction.
All right.
I think the main thing of everything is to realize that, like, we get to have this human experience.
Yeah.
You know, and then like it does get to be like fun and as playful and as joyful as possible. And no matter what it is, like if it's like spirituality, if it's religion or whatever, if it's in alignment with you, cool, that's amazing and awesome. If it's not, cool. And we are always on a trajectory of growth.
Yes.
So things are going to shift and change.
Yeah.
Okay. Sexual seduction. Do you want to read these 3? Like, I don't, or do you want me to read it for you?
I'll let you read.
Okay. Whoa. Whoa. Okay. Here you are. In the middle of like, right? What you doing, Spirit? Shut the fuck up.
She doesn't know me at all. Like, at all.
Man, I'm gonna box you. I'm gonna hit you with a left or uppercut.
There's times where I'm like, if you was a person right here, right fucking now,
Right, exactly.
let's do this shit.
And it's like, da-da-da-da-da. And really, like, what it's done is it's shown you your strength. Like, so to me, like, our team, whatever we want to call it, is actually aspects of ourselves. Like, I think we've had that conversation before. But the multidimensionality of who you be is like what comes through. So it's like, you know, there's a book, I cannot remember the name of it, but it talks all about, I think it's Red Hot and Holy. It talks all about, right? It talks all about like appropriate anger, like appropriate feelings, particularly when we're talking about like feminine energy and masculine. Feminine is just energy, like both, like the stifling of things. That anger actually shows you exactly where you have been stifled before.
Oh my gosh. So
what?
And that's exactly how I felt. Because if I get back to, let me give you,
fuck you, Spirit.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
actually this big.
Yes, and it's like the thing is like, okay. So where I felt stifled before, I felt very, very. Like, it was okay if humans abandoned me. It was okay if certain things, but to not feel spirit, not have like I always felt like spirit was family. Spirit was my best friend. It was my, you know, that kind of thing. And when I felt like spirit had abandoned me, like spirit had checked the fuck out, like that's where I felt stifled.
Sure.
That's when I felt the loneliest. Like people could fuck all the way off and I wouldn't give a shit.
Yeah.
And it was like when I felt disconnected from that. So in retaliation during the dark night of my soul or
Right.
the soul death, I was like, fuck you, take it all back. I don't want it. You can have it kind of thing. And it's like,
absolutely.
I did everything to ignore spirit. Like, I don't want anything to fucking do with you. I don't want to, because I felt immensely abandoned and hurt and traumatized. And it's one of those things where it's like, I can tell you different things that I experienced in my life, but if I were to tell you my biggest trauma
What was that
is
part?
with spirit.
Yeah.
Like when I tell you
Well,
that relationship.
Yeah.
And I'm not one of those like, oh, super love and light, spirit's never bad. I'm like, everything down here exists up there. Okay. So like, I'm not one of those who's like, you know, like there are, they may have a more expansive understanding of things and things like that. Spirit, whatever you fucking call it, universe, but it is as above, so below. Like there's not anything. So for me to like, I'm not going to put them on some kind of a pedestal above me.
Mm-hmm. And I think our biggest rites of passage actually come through our biggest gifts. Yeah. Does that make sense? So like
yes.
mine was with men and the masculine. So like my whole life, but that is like, I know that like I sat on a rock one time in Greece and it was like, you're going to be working with masculine energy. And I was like, really, what? That's just weird to me. So your biggest like gifts are your biggest rites of passage.
Yes.
So that was your rite of passage.
Yes.
This feels like it's like the taking off of the masks and like actually like a coming together. And there's something significant about the four, like where
foundation.
they're standing under. Yeah, like this part. And the garland. And this is just you being like like
I love the way she describes that.
Like in your power, right? So it's like
yes.
fuck. Okay, we're gonna like pull off the mask, come together, stand here.
Yes.
And then this is how I wield my magic.
Which is like the coming together to me is like the moving beyond. Like, can I be angry? Can I maintain this? You know, did these things happen? Did this happen? And it's like it's whether it's what I want and what I desire. It requires this coming together.
Absolutely, it did. Yeah.
You know, like like if you think of any true relationship, it is the willingness and the choice to move beyond.
Yeah.
Like anything you ever have to work through, whether it's a love relationship, a family relationship, you know, if what you want on the other side, there are certain things that you want on the other side would require, you know what I'm saying? Like let's say there's a cheating situation in a relationship, and it's like you want to continue to stay together. Your vision of the future includes that person, then there's a point where you have to move beyond
let it go.
The trauma or the injury or the perceived infliction of anything. And it's like, it's like, not, it can't be a situation where it's, I'm right, they're wrong. And like, you know, like you feel righteous in that. It's like, because it is just what the fuck it is and what it was.
And it wasn't lost on me that this one stayed out here.
I felt that was important to leave out here too. I was like, so go ahead.
Yeah. So this feels like, I don't know why, but it was like boom, 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 3 different ones of like the movie, the forward motion part. The key, I didn't even show you guys. Sorry, like it's the strength. Let me see if I can do this. I've never done this. Oop, there we are.
And 4 of Wands.
Oop, there it is. And then what is it? Is this Magician? Is that okay? That makes sense. Oop, there it is. Okay. And then this is the King of Earth, Universe. And can I say this on?
Do it.
We're gonna be like
bow chicka wow.
Oh, it's 33. That's kind of cool too.
And look, 3 at the top.
Oh wow.
3 is the number for me. 13.
So King of Earth, it's like, this is my dominion. Welcome, people. Welcome into my dominion. I have gone through this, the shaman's death, the dark night soul, whatever you want to call it, into my dominion. And there might be little, like, so I have the wings, there might be times of like, right? Like 6 months. Yes, of course. Like we're all going to go through
ebbs and flows.
Life cycle. The Woman Who Runs with Wolves is one of my favorite books. Like there is like, it's natural. It's beautiful. It's as it should be. The great one of the night of time Interesting. Yeah, that just looks like ebbs and flows to me. And then moist codes. Like when
I told him about that the other day.
like,
I was like, okay, go ahead.
this is like the moving beyond, like the moving, like life doesn't have to be hard.
Yes.
Like I don't have to argue with spirit. You can if you want to.
Yep.
Like, but can you bow wow chicka wow wow with them as equally? Can you feel the sensuality
Yes.
of of receivingness, of being in flow with life, not.
So this gives me lots of sacral energy. The creation,
yes,
kind of reminds me also of the magus or the magician, which is the actual creation of something in this world. It's like it's birthed by the coming together of spirit and I. Is what I'm garnering right now. I'm like, okay.
So what's 33 mean for you? Like, what's the threes? Like,
3 is like it's abundance, it's creation, it's birth. It is the mother, the nurturing, the allowance, the receiving, that type of thing.
Yep. Yep.
And so it's like that's where like everything that I want is going to come from the coming together. Yes. Everything that I see for myself, everything that I am trying to manifest, trying to draw in, does have a precipice. Yes,
it's a coming together. It's literally, this looks like a literal like merging, like in a lot of ways.
You show him?
Oh yeah, there's a merging that's happening there. A beautiful merging.
And then that thing, like that looks like spirit. Looks like an angel. Looks like
totally,
you know what I mean?
Angelic.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And then it's like, I got you.
Mm-hmm.
I actually do have you.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I got you. These were pieces for you to find you, to come back into this really beautiful holding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like it feels very like nurturing.
You know what it reminds me of?
Mm-hmm.
Now, something about like 4 years ago, the first 2 years was like childhood.
Oh, we did.
Child healing.
Yeah.
This feels like teenage. We have been having this conversation about how our teenagers act like dicks. And then suddenly they become 20 and they start like
amazing.
Yeah, it's the change and the relationship that comes back together. So like there's this ripping apart, it feels like, as one wants to see themselves independent of, and like, you know,
as
like,
it should be.
Yes. Even with me in spirit, it's like,
yes,
you know, it's like, why do you get to always dictate? And it's like, why do you get to just leave and I still have to believe in you? And it's like, I was going through my teenage phase.
Mm-hmm. And this is
the
like
teenage anger, angst that we all talk about. Like
right.
I haven't, like that was me working with my teenager.
Yeah, and this is mature love.
Yes.
Like this is like, I got you. You provide. This one provides a foundation. This one has like
right. Like, when spirit stops doing everything for me, I took as abandonment.
Right, and it's actually just showing you your power.
But that's what we do with our kids. Is okay. Now it's your turn. You're in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
And like the level of panic that can happen because the amount of mistakes you make as a teenager going into early adulthood and you know, and it's like we want to blame something, we want to blame somebody, we want to, you know what I mean? And it's like, no, come save me. And it's like spirit's always been there, but they can't do for you because that's not what is. I'm sorry. I'm coming to a realization. This was never meant to be. It's that co-creation. It is the
not codependency. It's co-creation. Yeah.
We talk about that all the time. Like, I don't want to handle, like, not people, like, spirit does not want you to be codependent on them. That's not the point of this.
Yes.
Because otherwise you're not actually having a human experience.
Which is the embodiment part.
Yes.
So if you were constantly
being rescued by spirit, then I wouldn't be embodying anything.
Right. So it just feels like another rendition of your practice because you were just saying of like what comes through then is actually the beautiful
mirroring of the
unity. I was trying to think, I was like, what did I say earlier? What was that word? It's union. Yeah, divine union.
So that was now they're saying I'm coming out. So now's the doing. Now's the
and so the frequency thing, PS, whoever is watching is going to get like more hits of things because you get to start sending your frequency through. Like that's the divine union too. It's like, how do you feel this? Cool. What do I feel wants to be projected, the transmission that comes through me today? Not just through my words, but through the vibration of my frequency.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sending all of y'all some healing juju. You know what I mean? I'm sending all of y'all some ice, baby. I'm sending all of y'all some levitation, so that way we're rising above all the shit. I'm sending you all some fire to burn down what's not serving. Like all of that. Yeah.
Nice.
Which is a thing. See, we don't even plan the shit. It just happens.
Right? Well, this is like, we have normal conversations too, but then sometimes we just go on trajectories and it just happens. And we're like, we should have been recording this.
Right.
Like, because it's just, it's, and sometimes I go through the process and then have the acknowledgement at the end.
Yes.
Because it's almost like if they were to tell me what's about to happen or what's going to transpire, I almost work against myself sometimes.
Yeah. Until you don't, right?
That can take a time.
Yeah. It can take as long as you want, Shauna.
And if you don't think I didn't do that with spirit, and I was like, you know what, I'm done with this shit. I'm checking out right the fuck. It was necessary because I was just like, but when I know y'all been teenagers. I know, like when I tell you that's the most combative time frame, I'm going to call that my teenage era. Like I was feeling my teenager.
You're coming into your stage.
Because I also didn't get to do that with my parents and be myself or with society or with anybody else. And so it's like, I always have my parents make the decisions for me and society give me the parameters on how to behave and everything like that. So when spirit said, I was like, you're fucking abandoned me. Look at the bitch in heaven. And they're like, we're right here. And you know what? Like a good parent, I'm not saying they're my parent, but like a good parent, like they were like, you do your thing. I'll be here when you're. When I'm like, it shouldn't have had to happen to this, and you could have helped me. You could have saved me. They're like, I could have.
Right.
I could have.
But I'm not codependent. So you do your thing.
It's just like with my. I'm now getting the parallel. It's like with my child. It's like, what would that have done had I done that for you though?
Right. Correct.
What would I? It's like I could have.
It doesn't show you your power.
But you know what I want for my child? I want him to learn that lesson now, so he doesn't continue to repeat that for eternity. In his life, you know what I mean? And so spirit's like, if I keep doing that, you have to, sometimes you've got to fall flat on your face, Shauna. Sometimes you've got to fall flat on your face.
Like, I don't know, you want like shaman.
And then sometimes I get the whole like, spirit's like, but did you die? And I'm like, I know I was gonna die. And they're like, but did you die? You know, it's like, it's a joke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I that's how I imagine my spirit guides being like, but did you die? You know.
That's what I say when I'm driving people.
Right? So that's why she laughs when it looks like she's about to get in an accident. She's like, "Oh, we're gonna die."
That's so much fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
That brings a lot. Do you mind one more thing? If we read this from the book?
Yeah.
Like this is the shaman. It's right over here. That little creamy one.
That's funny because I was like,
it's the shaman's death and rebirth. But I always do it's number 41, and it's like we don't read the whole thing. There's like a little summary.
That's funny. So I just live your truth. Okay.
So keep going. The best way.
Death rebirth ritual is called Night Fear. Okay.
Damn, this is a long one.
All right.
There, the application.
Okay. In choosing the shaman's death card, you are being put on notice that a death cycle or ending is in process. Before the rebirth can occur, the habit, attitude, relationship, or part of the self that is dying must be looked at. Assist the process by consciously allowing the old to be removed. Let go of the teenage years. And then make way for the new cycle. It doesn't say teenage years. I just said that. Let go and then make way for the new cycle of life to take hold. Remember, you are creating fertile ground for new adventures when you are willing to let go of old identities. Your rebirth cycle is always full of promise and growth when you allow the old patterns to die with dignity. So it's not making yourself wrong.
Yes, allow it to die with dignity.
Like
or anybody else, like spirit.
Or anybody else, like spirit. And
it's about the moving beyond and coming together. Like, it is what it is. What happened did happen.
And that's that whole, like, drama dynamics that I love, like hero, victim, villain. Like, we don't play in that. Like, like, that's empowerment. We don't play in that. So yeah, don't make
say that one more time.
We don't play in that hero, victim, villain.
Drama explain dynamics. That really quick.
Yes. So the drama dynamics is hero, victim, villain. Meaning, if you're making anyone a villain, then you're actually taking power away from you. If you are the hero, if you have to hero people, then that's very codependent. Like you're not allowing them to gain their own power, which is what you were just talking about, like with your process with spirit. What was the other one? Victim. Like, so we talked about earlier, like experiences happen. What we make them mean about us is not really how it meant. Like the abuse happened, what it means doesn't mean that you're not worthy.
In a stage we allow it to hold us in.
Yes.
Like a perpetual victimhood.
Correct. Where it's like, woe is me, life is happening to me and it's shit, versus like, I am the creator, life happens through me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, life happens through me. I get to choose what the fuck I want.
Mm-hmm. Which is really just taking your power back.
Absolutely.
It's standing in your power.
Absolutely. So then anywhere in your life that you're choosing to play victimhood, like clear and release that, know that you have the power to create what you want. And really that comes through the stories that we tell ourselves. Like a lot of times there's so many stories that aren't real at all.
Mm-hmm. Which that's another thing we've been talking about is like, what story do you have behind something? The very last reading I was talking about the surrender, my whole and then unpacking what that meant because through that other words, other things came up and other stories. And I was like some unpacking and redefining something for myself took some time.
Yes. And the how practice for that a lot of time is the allowance of the emotion to come through, the inner child work, the reparenting. There's a lot of different practices. There's like hypnotherapy, there's EMDR, there's shamanic, there's all like whatever calls to you, like you know what I mean, like your soul knows like where to go next a lot of times. Good stuff.
Yes.
Anything else?
No, I'm about to kick my cup over.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
This
is Paula. We'll bring her back sometime.
Yeah, be fun.
Thank you.
Love you, woman. Love you too.
Hope everybody has a fantastic, wonderful day.
Yes.
We will see you again later this week.
Yeah.
I used to have a little mouse that would take care of things.